Hi, welcome to your triceps, biceps and core focused session today. What you'll need is a mat, a pair of dumbbells. I've gone for 3 kilo dumbbells. You can go lighter, 1 kilo, absolutely fine, 2 kilograms. Probably want to top it out at 3 though. And also some of the moves we're going to use the Swiss ball. So I've just got my mat off the reformer today. A yoga mat's absolutely fine, a towel on the floor. So we'll start with just a warm-up. It's going to be a low impact warm-up. The session will probably take you about 30 to 35 minutes. I'm just going to go 10 reps for most of the movements today to start with. So I'm going to start with just some star jumps. Really nice long arm and leg extensions. So you don't have to go high impact with this. If you want to go high impact, you can bring in your jumping jacks or your star jumps. We're just going to do 10 of these, nice long extensions, reaching those fingertips so they touch right over the top of the head. Got a couple more. Excellent. Just taking it into some gentle lunges. You can place your hands on your hips. Make sure your legs are in a parallel leg position, so whereby your hip bones are in line with your knees and your feet. Stepping it up into a lunge and nice and tall back. No need to go too deep. And we're just going to do 10 of these as well. We're just warming up those big muscle groups. As you land that foot forward, roll the heel, ball and toe down each time. One more on each side. Nice and tall, shoulders to hips. And take a moment. I've scrunched up my mat already. Alright, we're going to go now into a nice Pilates move, a standing saw. So extending those arms up. We're going to exhale, we're going to sweep opposite hand across to the opposite foot, looking up past the shoulder of the arm that is extended above your head. Now if you want to soften your knees as you work through these, please do. We're going to take it through 4 more. Nice inhale as you float on up and exhale as you sweep on through. I'm going to finish with the last one here. And relaxing those arms down, stepping it into parallel leg position. Some nice shoulder rolls. Just shrug them up to the ears, roll them back. Feeling those shoulder blades kind of squeezing into the spine. Good, and reverse the movement. That's it. Up and through. Good, extending those arms. We're going to alternate this. It's like a backstroke in swimming. If this is uncomfortable with the arms parallel to the body, take the arms out a little further away from the body, just whatever feels comfortable through the shoulder joints. Good. Now let's reverse the movement. Think about an overarm crawl in a swimming stroke again. Just really warming up through the shoulders and across the thoracic spine. Good, couple more. Last one. Beautiful. Just bringing those feet out a little wider than hips. What I'm going to get you to do is just pivot. So hands on hips, you can see they're kind of sliding across the hips. And we'll do some gentle rotation. So I'm going to get you to start with turning your feet to the left, your hips are square on, and we're going to rotate to the right. Now we're going to come back to center, placing the feet one at a time, rotating the feet to the right and turning to the left. Let's come back to center, just shifting those feet. You don't need to shift them together. Rotate to the right. Bring it back to center so the feet are facing in the same direction as the hip bones. Pivot to the right, turn to the left. We're going to come back, feet facing forward, turn them to the left and pivot to the right. I'm just going to do a couple more of those. So just nice, easy placement with the feet. Move them one at a time. Try not to shuffle them together on the floor. And last one, hip bones facing forward, feet are pivoted to the left, and we're going to rotate the body to the right. Bring those feet back in line with the knees and the hips, and we are ready to start. So we're going to start with focusing on the core work, and that is going to incorporate the core being obviously your thighs, your pelvis or your hips, your lower back, and your abdominals. So we'll start down on the floor, and we're going to go through some basic curls. So utilizing your mat, I want you to support your head with your fingertips. Now the reason for that is so we have the elbows nice and wide, and I want you to feel those shoulder blades are plugged to the floor and that chest is nice and open. We've got the thumbs either side of the cervical spine, so either side of the neck. We're going to start with these basic crunches. We've got the feet flat on the floor, and we've got those legs in that parallel leg position, hip bone, knee and foot in line on each leg. So we're just going to take a breath in. I'm going to focus on some Pilates breathing with these movements. A breath in before you get ready, and exhale and inhale. You're just going to work through 10 of these basic curls. If you wanted to, you could take it up to the next level and just have those legs suspended in what we call a tabletop position. So knees are right above the hips. We've got those shins parallel to the ceiling. So we're just working through nice and steadily 10 of these in time with our breath. Good, exhaling. Elbows are nice and wide, and we're supporting the head with the fingertips. So every time we lift, we've got a little bit of lift up with the fingertips, and then we're letting the weight of the head settle back into the fingertips as we come back to the floor. We're going to take it now into what we call some knee crunches or some alternating tabletop crunches. So we'll start with keeping one foot firmly on the floor. We're just going to elevate the head and the shoulders as we bring one leg into that nice right angle shape. We're going to return that foot and we're going to switch sides. Now again, we're just going to work through 10 of these in total. Thinking about the fingertips supporting the head, the neck and the chin and the head are all being supported by those hands or those fingertips. And we're keeping that area very, very still. So we're really focusing on our abdominals, our lower back to some degree, and the hips taking all the load. Coming back down to the floor, we're going to maintain this position and we'll go into our next series of curls. Now these will be what we call crisscross or oblique curls. You've got two variations to start this. If you've been doing these for a while, you might want to go straight into that tabletop leg position with the legs suspended. Or you might want to start down from the relaxed legs position. I'll show you both options. I'll go the less challenging one first. So you're going to come on up. We're going to rotate slightly across and look past the outside of this thigh. I want you to look straight down past that foot. We're going to inhale and return. Shoulder blades evenly weighted to the floor. Exhale and return. And continue for 10. That's in total. Or you can start from tabletop position. As you extend the leg, we're going to reach past and look at that leg that remains in our right angle or our tabletop position. Nice long leg extensions. Exhaling and inhale as you return. Whoops, getting tangled up in the reformer there. I'm going to finish this off as my last one. If you've got legs up, please gently return those feet to the floor one at a time. Just lengthen those arms, rest them beside you. I'm going to roll over onto the side. Just going to check where we were going with our next move. And it was planks. So you will roll over onto your side, and we're going to come and rest on our forearms on the floor. So again, lots of variations with planks. I'll just shift my position a little here. So your starting position, we'll bring those hands forward of the shoulders. I'm just going to roll on down. Want to line those elbows up, shoulder width apart. You can have palms pressed on the floor, or you can have those palms facing in. Now what we're going to do is make sure those legs are in parallel leg position again, knees, hips and feet in a nice vertical line. Focus your gaze forward of your fingertips, so we've got that chin in neutral, and I'm going to get you just to lift the hips up off the floor. Now this is your starting plank. You can hold this for 15 seconds. If you're absolutely new to this, or try for 30 seconds. And then I want you to come down and have a little rest between the sets. And also if you're doing 2 sets of 10 of those curls that we were working through before, again, a good 20 to 30 second recovery period just in between before you take up that second set. If you're going into more advanced planks, take a gentle breath in. We're going to come on up and we're going to try and keep the hips down and draw the belly button gently up away from the floor. Keep breathing through these planks, and again holding for 15 to 30 seconds, as long as you can hold that good form. And so we're kind of pressing the heels back slightly, almost kind of gently flexing the feet. Eyes focus forward rather than looking down or tucking your chin. If you are up off your knees, gently return knees and roll thighs and hips down to the floor. So all those variations with planks, either holding for 50 to 30 seconds. If you can manage 2 sets to start with. The goal is to increase to 3 sets, whether it's 15 to 30 second duration. We're going to move on to our next set of movements. So in order to get into the correct position, we're just going to roll over onto the hip again. And we're going to come back to lying face up on the floor. I'm just going to shift away from the reformer a little. So make sure your hips are weighted nice and evenly. We're going to keep our legs in relaxed position. So thinking about having the feet comfortably connected to the floor, so the toes are kind of spread out if you've got bare feet working through this, and we've got those heels nicely connected to the floor as well. I want to avoid lifting the heels. So arms are relaxed nice and heavy beside the body. I'm going to get you to take a breath in, and we're going to slide the fingertips around, trying to reach towards the heel of the same foot. And we're going to inhale and return. Exhale and inhale. And you can just lift the head off the floor, and we want to think about gently drawing the belly button in, just keeping that connection to our center. And what I mean by that is just kind of drawing in the belly button, or kind of scooping in the abdominals. Try and think about relaxing the shoulders, and eyes are just looking up to the ceiling. Just see how you go with this one. Sometimes it would be quite a strain through the neck. Good, and we're just working through 10 in total. So it's just that reaching the fingertips towards the heel of the same side foot. Okay, moving along. I have to consult my notes again. Right, we're maintaining this position. I might pop these down here actually. We're going to go into some variations for leg raises. So this will place a bit of a focus on the abdominals and the pelvis. And we've got lots of variations for the length of the legs, or the lever, and the amount of weight that's going to be placed on these abdominals, that the abdominals are going to support. So starting with arms nice and heavy by your sides. So we've got them anchored. Open up that chest, and I want you to float the legs up into tabletop. We're just going to simply start with an extension and sweep it back in. Extending that leg, pointing that toe, and I want you to start to feel, as you extend, the contraction through your quads. So you're almost going to feel like you're pulling your kneecap up to your hip bone. Making sure your eyes are focused directly up to the ceiling, with that chest nice and open. Those shoulder blades are really heavy to the floor. use your breath work here to lengthen the time that that leg is extended and those muscles are contracting. So full exhale, and only when you need to breathe in are you going to bring those legs back into that nice right angle or tabletop position. Now you've got another variation on your leg extensions. Again, you can float those legs up into tabletop. You can press those legs together. Exhaling. And inhale. Sweep back in. Really keep those legs pressed together. Chest is nice and open. Really feeling those quads working to extend those legs and lengthen them. Squeezing actively the whole time, pressing those legs together. So that's your second variation. So you can work through either the single leg extensions with parallel leg position or double leg extension, but we've got those legs connected and actively pressing together all the way through. So our last movement here in set 2, oh no, we've got 2 more, I tell a lie. We're actually going to change position into a prone position. So the front facing body facing towards the floor. So easiest way to get there is just to roll over onto your sides. And here we shall, we'll continue to roll over. I'm going to work into what we call some spine extensions. Now, as I mentioned, the spine, the lower spine, the lumbar spine particularly, is part of the core. And we're also going to be working with the glutes, so the hips and the thighs, also part of that whole core area. So I'm going to extend the arms out. Hopefully I can get a bit of clearance past that reformer. Just shift across to the side. I'm going to relax my head on the floor. If you've got a little cushion you want to pop under your forehead so you can keep the mouth and the nose or the airway free to breathe, please do. Legs are in parallel leg position. Now what I want you to think about as we start into this Superman move or Superwoman move is this nice horizontal lengthening of the opposing limbs. You don't really have to worry about lifting the hand and the leg up as high as you possibly can. We're going to provide a little bit of extension through the thoracic spine here and through the lumbar spine here. So we're just going to cause or create a little bit of pressure or squeezing of the vertebra, if you like, just to produce some extension through the spinal column. So without further ado, I'm going to go right arm, left leg, taking a breath in. Exhale and inhale, and try and get the hand and the foot down at the same time. We're going to go opposing limbs, floating left arm, right leg and back down again. Didn't quite clear that reformer. So again, working through if you can. Inhale as you float, sink on down. And exhale as you float up. Working through 12 in total, so 6 on each side. So I'm going to let you continue on there. Now if you wanted to create a little more extension or a little bit more compression through those spinal vertebrae, and this is really good for mobilizing and strengthening through the spine, you can lift a little higher. And now if you wish, you can lift the head as well. You may wish to lift the chest. You're going to come all the way back down though in between. And you'll really feel that extension happening right across the top of the shoulders and right across the top of the hips. So that's your example for your second variation of Superman's or your spine extensions. Staying in this position, we're now going to move on to press-ups. Now we're going to start with what we call box press-ups, and then you can advance these press-ups. This is also a compound movement, so we will be working through the chest and the shoulders and the arms to some degree, and then we're still going to be thinking about the abdominals as we work through these press-ups. So I'm going to walk in, and if you've got a mat there, I want your hands either side of that mat. We're going to start with the knees under the hips, and I want you to focus your gaze just forward of your fingertips, right in the center of your mat. So we're going to keep that chin and head really nice and still, just as we did with our abdominal curls. Taking a breath in, I want you to think about widening the elbows as you exhale and lowering your chest to the floor, just feeling the shoulder blades kind of tracking in towards the spine, and we're drawing the belly button up away from the floor. Inhale as you rise up. Now you may find the reverse breathing is more comfortable for you. So you could possibly inhale here and exhale as you come up, so you'll find what works for you. Again, we're going to work through 2 sets of 10 of these. Now, the least challenging movement is with the knees directly under the hips. They're at a short distance from the head to the hips to for the chest to deal with. If you want to increase the challenge, the knees come behind the hips. Breathing where you find it comfortable. So you can see there's a longer distance from the knees to the head. And then, of course, I'm just going to make sure I've got enough room for the legs. You've got your full press-ups. So you've got all these options: knees behind hips and knees underneath hips. So again, depending on where you're starting from, this could be like your first foray into it, perhaps 5 press-ups, 2 sets of 5. Maybe you could go a little more, 2 sets of 8 or 2 sets of 10. So we're going to move on to set 3. Where are we? Okay, Russian twist. Variation 1. I've got my hand weight. It's going to hold 1 hand weight. I've got the knees soft and the legs are together. So I've got a very nice fold in the knees here. Sitting nice and tall from shoulders to hips, and making sure that we've got those elbows lower than the shoulders. Take a breath in. I want you to rotate and turn so the dumbbell is level with your hip. And we're going to inhale and bring the dumbbell above the knees. Exhale. So hips are staying very still because we're sitting on them. And the area that's doing all the work is through the abdominals. And we're actually working all 3 sets of abdominals here. We're getting this nice rotation through the spine as well. So trying for, again, if you can, 2 sets of 10 for your Russian twists. So I'm just going to pop those dumbbells down. Okay. Side prones. Oh no, we'll do jackknife crunches first. So I'm going to roll all the way down, coming down wherever it's most comfortable for you. Starting variation with your jackknives. We've got parallel legs. We're in relaxed leg position, arms nice and heavy by the sides. Variation 1. Exhale. And inhale and return, melt everything down. Now you see my thighs are staying parallel. So I haven't shot the toes or the feet right up towards the ceiling. Exhaling. Arms are on the same degree of angle as the legs. So you're going to feel those shoulders round as you peel that spine up. And you're thinking about drawing that belly button down or kind of scooping everything in. Variation 2. My fingers the wrong way that way. Variation 2. Okay, so it's a little more advanced. Again, bringing the legs back up to that nice right angle or tabletop, but we're going to connect the legs. Exhaling. Now you are relatively pointing them straight up in the air to start with. And I just want you to get comfortable with that movement, just ensuring that the abdominals can take the weight of the suspended limbs. So lifting head and shoulders. Now the more confident you get and you find this less and less challenging, this is where you're going to start to change the degree of angle. So you'll take it more from a 90-degree angle to maybe a 60-degree to 45. This is also known in Pilates as the teaser prep. So again, if you can try for one set to start with of 10, 2 sets of 10, or you might drop it down to 5 or 8 repetitions. Okay, rolling over onto the side. Couple of variations for our side lifts or hip lifts. First variation, front leg is long, the back foot is going to be flat on the floor. I'm going to have my hip, my knee and my heel and my toe all facing downwind. This elbow is going to be right under the shoulder, so the chest is nice and open, and this leg in the front is fully lengthened. We're going to place the fingertips on the floor, and that's going to be an additional little help into the hip lift. Excuse me. Take a breath in, exhale, and inhale. So that's all we're doing. Now, if you're comfortable, you can have hand on the hip, and inhale. So it doesn't have to even be that big a lift. Just lift the hip off a couple of centimetres. We're really compound movement here. Sorry, engaging in compound movement. So working through shoulder and hips. That's your starting position. You can then go to legs stacked, hand on the floor, hip lift and lower. Now what I've done by folding the knees is shorten the length or the lever of the legs, so shorten the length of the weight that the shoulders and the hips have to lift. Again, once you start to advance and that becomes less challenging and you want to try the next variation, and with control down as well. We can have hand on hip, and with control down as well. Imagine you're scooping in that belly button. Nice. So again, any of those variations, 2 sets, perhaps just try for 5 on each side to start with, then progressing to 8 to 10 repetitions. And again, that's going to work with the shoulders, the hips, and also incorporating all the rest of the core as well. Okay, last move in our 3rd set. We're actually going to come up to standing. And we've got a lovely little move called a windmill. So I'm just going to shift my mat out of the way. So it just requires 1 dumbbell. Pop that out of the way. And then we're going to move on to our upper body sequence. Whoops. Okay, so you can place this hand on the hip. You can just have this arm really nice and long and relaxed beside the body. We're in a parallel leg position. I'm going to float that arm up. So we're just reaching across to the outside of the opposite leg. So again, if you're just brand new into it, you might just want to start with 5 repetitions on each side. Then maybe progress to 8, or you can go 10. Arms nice and relaxed or hands on hips. I'm just going to float that arm up, directly up, wrist and shoulder in line. Exhale. Eyes are going to follow the movement of the hand as you lower. So I'm going to try and keep those hips facing square. Getting a lot of shoulder rotation in here. And definitely working in through the obliques as well. I'm just going to do one more. And very gently as you lower that dumbbell. Right, moving along, we're going to utilise both of the dumbbells. So, a little more focus on triceps now. So first move, tricep extensions. Now you could do this kneeling, you could do this in a kneeling lunge position, or you can simply do it standing, and I'm just going to go standing today. So arms are really nice and long, gentle grip on the dumbbells. I'm going to slightly pivot forward so my shoulders are forward of my hips, and I've got those legs in that parallel leg position. So I'll go side on so you can see the position. So I'm going to keep that chin nice and neutral, so I haven't tucked my chin to look back to the body and I haven't tilted it forward. So nice and neutral. Arms long, so you'll find that your arms, wrists will be underneath the shoulders. Take a breath in, exhale. Inhale as you slowly lower those arms back down again. Exhale. And inhale to lower. Now you might find that's too much with both arms with extension. There is no reason that you cannot alternate the tricep extensions. Again, 2 sets of 10 repetitions if you can, and you might want to alternate those or do your doubles. Or again, starting out from the get-go. 5 reps, have a rest, second set, 5 reps. Now we're going to change this a little bit to kickback. So we're going to incorporate a little bit more bicep work, the complementary muscle or the antagonist muscle to the agonist tricep. So slightly tilted forward again. So we've got those shoulders forward of the hips, the arms are really nice and long. What we're going to start with is pulling the arms up into a curl. So the tops of the dumbbells are about level with the top of your shoulders. Again, I'm going to go alternating. Exhale. Inhale, sweep it back up and close the angle of that elbow. Exhale, extend the arm out. And then tuck it in almost to a bicep curl, or you can go both. Tuck it in, take your time as you're bringing those dumbbells back in. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So we're closing the gap between the top and the bottom of the arm. Nice big bend through the elbow, hinging through that joint, and then extending. So I'm going to call this my last one. And again, absolutely no reason that you can't start with alternating. Or if you're having a bit of an off day, alternate each arm. You don't have to go doubles. Right. While I'm standing, I'm going to save the Swiss ball move to the last, is you can work with either a single dumbbell or 2 dumbbells. I'm going to go single. I'm going to hold the dumbbell with a double-handed grip. I'm going to reach up, avoiding the lampshade. And I've got the arms extended to start with. If you find that uncomfortable, soften the elbows a little. I'm going to turn the dumbbell horizontal position. I'm going to draw a halo over the top of my head. So I'm just going to exhale, sweep that circle through and pause to get a breath in. So we're trying to draw multiple halos because we've been really super good people. And I'm just going to try for 6. Now I'm going to pause, I'm going to rotate the other way. So engaging through the abdominals, the triceps, the biceps, the shoulders. We're also working through the lats, the traps and the rhomboids, and we're getting movement through that upper spine area into the thoracic spine. Gently bring those arms down and release either single, or you might have been doing that with 2 weights. If you're not comfortable with the weights to start with, just practice that movement with your hands clasped and just get a little mobility and movement through the upper spine and the shoulders. So the last movement, yes, the Swiss ball. So I'm just going to sit on the ball. I'm going to take a hold of my weights, make sure I've got clearance with the arms. And I'm going to walk my body, walk my feet away from the ball. So I'm just going to keep these dumbbells right here. Now, if you find that you have any issues with the neck and the shoulder, I want you to rest the curve of your neck on the ball so your head is supported. Now, my hips are quite dropped here, so I'm going to lift them. So hopefully I've got those knees and those hips nice and level. I'm going to float these arms up. I want to feel those shoulder blades in a nice neutral position. We're going to exhale and inhale. So the shoulders will round and the shoulders will retract. Now try not to drop those dumbbells past or below your shoulders. Now as we're working through these flies, what we're doing is just keeping that neck really nice and relaxed and supported with the ball, and we are keeping those hips lifted. So there's quite a bit of contraction work going on through those major glutes. Good, sweeping it up on that inhale, exhale. Just bringing those dumbbells back so your wrists are directly above your shoulders. I'm just going to go last set. I'm going to bring those down, tuck those elbows into the waist. You can just rest those dumbbells on the rib cage. We're just going to roll the head off, and we're just going to walk back, 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 back till we're upright. That is your session, focusing on your triceps, biceps, and the core. So let me know how you go. Thanks, guys, and give me a comment or subscribe. It's free to subscribe. Eastside Training Squad, D Hours, registered reps trainer. Thanks, guys.